flow consists of a bunch of frameworks, models, and tools that Ted and I have used and used them successfully and honed during the last 25 plus years. Actually, this stretches back over 35 years ago, and even longer for Ted, since he was about 10 years older than me. The tools that we primarily use are Vision, and Simon Sinek has some great videos out there why it's important to start with Vision, why Vision should be first. And we have things like cascading vision, including the one thing, and we're going to talk about that and what the dominoes are and the link back for cascading vision. We have VSPT, Vision, Strategy, People, and Tasks, and we'll talk about that model. Anticipatory vision, including the infinity picture that we use for that, where it's a both and not an either or. We're going to look at knowledge and tools, relationships, there's three sides of the triangle, and with vision in the center, and the mirror triangle to that is one language plus one mind plus one plan equals vision. We're going to talk about vision, flow, clarity, and we've got a pretty good model for that one. And then we're going to talk about the four visions, and we've put that into a simplified format that makes it much easier for people to track with and understand. And that was one of the things that we literally just worked on this past fall, back in the end of 2019. The 4R model goes all the way back to the early 80s, where the first 3 R's is something that I learned at the university. And the 4th R we added about 1999. And the 4D model really comes from the 4R model. The 4R model is how we work with people. The 4D model is how we work with teams, and how you align expectations versus reality, and how we keep people engaged. We talk a lot about culture and leadership's responsibility to create, shape, and mold the culture of the organization. We're going to talk about the AHA curve, and also about the languages that are in every organization. The guys who do tools and technology don't necessarily speak the same language as the guys who speak the business and management and leadership dialects in an organization. And we're going to talk about dilution and how that impacts getting the message through the organization and making sure that you get the vision for the change implemented in the organization. Also, we're going to show you how Flow supercharges Agile and Scrum, Kanban, classic project management, whether it's PMI or IPMA or whatever. We're going to show Flow at scale. In fact, I have now a new 4-hour presentation on how to use Flow for transformation. In this deck, we'll talk a little bit about scaled Agile and Scrum, program management, portfolio management, the law of averages, and the flaw of averages. The flow friction analysis we'll go through, which is an incredibly powerful tool. By the way, back on the scaling, in that presentation, I've got a picture now that I'm including in the posters, and it has the 17 different things that you have to keep going in order to be able to do scaling, transformation, rollout, and governance if you're going to do any kind of those kinds of efforts within an organization. So it doesn't matter if you're doing an Agile transformation, a DevOps transformation, or a transformation of any kind. This is going to give you the things that you're going to need to do in order to be able to do a transformation and do it successfully. The Flow case study canvas, we'll talk a little bit about that at the end. And actually we are using the Flow FCP case study template, and we'll probably do a separate quick walkthrough of that template as a separate short video. We'll see how that goes. For the Pomodoro and time savings tips that I mentioned, we'll go through that here very briefly. And Pomodoro, the whole idea of the technique is to help you increase your ability to quickly assimilate the information, especially in this drink from the fire hose video and from the video library for the Flow FCP. So after each 15-minute, you're going to want to take a short 2-minute Pomodoro break in between each video, and then just come back in and hop in where you were at. In some cases, if you're watching these videos over time, you're going to have more of a break. But when you hop right back in, it's just really interesting using Pomodoro that you're able to assimilate and more quickly learn everything and actually retain a higher percentage of what you're doing. By the way, these videos are available on YouTube. And the whole point of putting them on YouTube, I don't necessarily like or dislike YouTube, it's just what's one feature that they have that I really like is you can change the playback speed in settings, and you can play back the videos up to 2 times faster. So instead of taking 15 to 20 hours, if you are able to keep up, you can get through the materials in, let's say, 7.5 to 10 hours. Some people I talked to, they said, yeah, 1.5 times, that was starting to be a challenge. For those where English wasn't their mother tongue, it was either 1.5 or maybe 1.25 speed. And even then, you're still getting the information more quickly. So it's a time-saving tip. And, you know, if you can do 1.5, 15 hours, you can do in 10. So it's just a technique I've picked up along the way. And I think this is a really valuable feature that is available in YouTube videos. So I really like that. Now, we're going to go through some brutal facts. And people may or may not like to hear these facts. It's okay. But we need to level set people's expectations about what can be achieved and what you can achieve and the remarkable results that you're going to be able to deliver. And for me, some of these are just real eye-openers. It's been these, like, you see a video or you think about a specific topic and you just go, oh, wow, yeah, that really impacts what we're trying to achieve if we're doing product development, or if we're doing a project or a program, or we're in charge of managing portfolios. All of these things need to be kept in the back of your mind, but at the same time, I don't want you to be discouraged. Now, confronting the brutal facts actually comes from Jim Collins' book, Good to Great. And it was the Stockdale paradox that they talk about there. And they were asking, I think his first name was Jim Stockdale. He was the longest surviving prisoner of war during the Vietnam War. And when they interviewed him and they asked him, hey, who died first? And he would say, well, it was the optimists. And people would be like, what? He goes, yeah, they'd get captured in the fall. And they would say, well, we're going to be rescued by Christmas. They're coming for us by Christmas. Christmas came and went. No one came and rescued them. Then they said, well, we'll be rescued by Easter. They'll definitely come and get us by Easter. Easter came and went, and they weren't rescued. Then they would say, well, maybe by 4th of July. Yeah, 4th of July, we'll be rescued. 4th of July came and went, and they weren't rescued. And then they were like, well, maybe by Labor Day. We'll get rescued by Labor Day. Same thing. Labor Day came and went, no rescue. Then they would be like, well, maybe by Halloween or Thanksgiving. Both of those would come and go. And Jim Stockdale made the interesting observation that usually people like that, the optimists, they die first. And they usually didn't even last a year. So they didn't even make it to the next Christmas. And so they asked him, well, how did you survive? And he said, well, you have to confront the brutal facts and manage everything from there. So in essence, he was applying theories of constraints. Find the bottleneck, find the constraint. You don't break the constraint, you manage to the constraint. And that is how he survived. And, okay, some people may or may not feel like their projects are like being a prisoner of war in a prisoner of war camp. But some of the projects I've seen almost are like that. So you need to keep that in mind. And so I'm not presenting these brutal facts as these methodologies don't work or anything like that. I want to present them in a way that opens your eyes so that you look at it and you go, oh, okay, I get that. Okay, I need to operate from a different lens, from a different perspective in order to be able to survive and even thrive, regardless of my circumstances. Now, I'm going to put this link and include the video in with this presentation. So I've grouped the videos together. And this was Jamie. He's an Agile coach. And if you want, you can pause here, go back to the playlist, watch that video. Watch about the first 3 minutes of the video. You'll get the gist. But if you want to watch the whole thing, it's just under 10 minutes. And by the way, in answer to Jamie, he said that there's nothing out there that helps you manage the politics. That's simply not true. This is what flow is all about. We're going to talk about politics a little bit later. We're going to have some fun with that. And I'm going to show you how you deal with the politics. And we're also going to talk about, and I talk about this in the transformation deck when we talk about teal thinking. And that's at the end of the transformation deck. And teal thinking is a idea that has started coming into different organizations and such. And the teal thinking is basically that 6 or 7% of the population can be teal thinkers, and then you had orange thinkers, and then yellow thinkers, and green thinkers. And when you look at that, it gives a perfect explanation to why Jamie was getting so frustrated dealing with the politics. He even says, I go to these companies, I tell them what they need to do, and nothing happens. Well, that's because you're dealing with the inertia of an organization. And if the executives aren't in the transformation, if they aren't leading the transformation, literally not just talking the talk, but walking the talk. If they're not there doing that, then it's going to be really difficult for you to mitigate the politics. And the flow friction analysis gives you exactly why the politics happen. If you know why the politics happen, you can mitigate it. So you can't sit there and say, oh, there's nothing out there, there's no training out there that will help us deal with the politics. That's what flow is all about. It starts with the top, it starts with the leadership. Flow starts with the organizational perspective and the leader's perspective. And you need to understand how to mitigate the politics. And you're going to see that a little bit in this deck, but mostly in the transformation deck, on how to mitigate the politics. And our books, they're both there to help you understand how you mitigate the politics. Read both books. The whole path is there. Ted and I grew up in a political family. Our dad was an elected official successfully for 33 years in the state of Michigan. And what he taught us about politics and how to manage it, how to mitigate it, and how to create critical mass so that you win. There is a way to survive the blood sport called politics, and do not be fooled. It is a blood sport. If you do not recognize that, if you're coming in as an agile coach and you think that you can sit in a circle, hold hands, sing kumbaya with the leadership, and that's going to work, I got news for you. That ain't how it works. So you're going to want to learn how to effectively mitigate the thing called politics. And remember, it is a blood sport. And if you're not interested in full contact sports, then you may or may not want to be an agile coach or an enterprise agile coach. You may want to rethink your career, just like Jamie talks about in this video. It's a great video. It's really honest. It's really open. I really like it. I love his transparency, but he wasn't correct in everything that he said. So go watch the video, then come back, and we'll keep going.